If you're looking to build a dresser for one of your kids, or maybe even yourself, then I'm going to show you how I built my son's dresser. I started by modeling this in SketchUp so that I really wasn't going into it blind. I have tried to build too many things by just trying to wing it and hope that it turns out and solve problems as I go. This way I have a clear-cut plan from start to finish. I will be building this dresser from these plans, which I have for sale on Etsy if you guys would like to go pick that up and follow along in the video. The plans have a material list with dimensions as well as a cut diagram for all the plywood to minimize the waste and keep everything organized. All these materials are from Home Depot, so it's easy for everybody to source the same thing that I'm using. I used mainly 3/4 inch birch plywood, 1/2 inch sanded plywood for all the drawer bottoms, and 1/4 inch sanded plywood for the back of the dresser. The ends will be made out of 2x2s, just regular pine since they'll be getting painted anyways. A track saw is not needed for this, but you'll have to do all the cuts with a circular saw and a straight edge, so a track saw is quite a bit easier. If you're looking into getting a track saw, I would suggest the Wen track saw on Amazon, or if you're wanting something a little bit nicer, you can get the M18 track saw and the tracks for the Wen and save yourself about $200 and still have a really nice saw to use. The cutting diagrams make this very easy and take into account a 1/2 inch of waste on all the edges for any damaged plywood, as well as an 1/8 of an inch waste for the kerf of the blade. So take that into account when you're making your cuts, if you're following the plans. Once I had all the cuts done with the track saw, I ran the remaining ones through the table saw. Utilizing a table saw makes repeated cuts quick and easy and speeds up the process, having a nice table support for your table so when you run those longer pieces through, they don't fall off the end. Especially if you're using a job site saw like I'm using, which having this table is pretty awesome. I do have a video on how I built this table saw workbench, and I'll throw that down in the description if you guys would like to go check that out after watching this. Once all the pieces are cut and labeled with blue painter's tape so that I didn't get anything mixed up, I moved on to drilling all the pocket holes. You need to drill the front and the back of the drawer boxes. Don't drill the sides. They will be seen and the ends can be hidden. The two ends need pocket holes to fasten them to the 2x2 frame, as well as drilling into some 2x2 to fasten them to each other. Once you get all the pocket holes drilled, feel free to move on to the edge banding. I recommend getting your edge banding online in larger quantities, like 250 feet, rather than spending the money on the 25-foot rolls at Home Depot. Take your time with the edge banding and make sure that you get everything adhered well. The last thing you want is to have the edge banding fall off after the dresser's all done. If you guys have never done edge banding before, I also have a video for that, so go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description to all the videos as well as all the tools and miscellaneous materials that I used in building this dresser. Once you finished with all the edge banding, I took a sanding sponge or a piece of sanding paper and ran it along all the edges of the edge banding to knock off any of the sharp edges. My son wanted the top and all the drawer fronts to be stained a darker wood, so I started on that next. I used a dark walnut stain, which I applied with a foam brush and wiped off immediately afterwards. Be sure to use a gel stain when applying it to plywood since it has a thin veneer, and gel kind of helps it get more of an even coat without as much blotchiness. After all the staining and allowing it to dry, I knocked all the raised grain down with 320 sandpaper. I went lightly over it and proceeded to apply 2 coats of a water-based polyurethane. The first coat goes on very thin, and you can let that dry for about 24 hours. And again, a quick sand with the 320, and then you can throw a top coat a little bit thicker than your first one on for your finished coat. I used a satin polyurethane so that it didn't have too much of a gloss finish to it, but if you like the glossy look, then by all means, use the glossy. For the insides of the drawers, I decided to hit everything with a real quick 220 and be sure to wipe off all the dust. Then do a quick coat of shellac and let that dry and hit it with 220 again. And then I threw on a real thin coat of the polyurethane as well on top of that, just to dress it up a little bit, but only do this to the inside of the drawer boxes. The outsides don't matter in my opinion, so for the outside, all I did was 1 coat of shellac just to protect it. I opted to not do any polyurethane on the outsides of the drawer boxes just to speed up the process. Starting on the frame of the dresser, I took all the 2x2s and laid them out, as well as the dresser ends to get ready to assemble the dresser frame itself. Get everything set out and make sure that you can use wood glue wherever possible on these frames. For all the plywood, I used 1.5" pocket hole screws, and for the 2x2s, I used the 2.5" pocket hole screws. Make sure that you do use the right screws. It's very important so you don't have the ends of the screws poking out through your finished product. Pretty frustrating. Use whatever clamps you have available to you to hold everything together once you get it glued so that when you screw it, the pocket holes won't move on you. The big thing with pocket holes is that as you tighten them, it can shift your pieces and make them not flush and square. So be for sure that you have everything clamped tightly before fastening them in. I didn't see the need to using any squares when clamping this down because your side panel will actually keep everything square and where it needs to be. After getting both ends done, I installed the back stretchers. One goes in the bottom, one goes in the top. Make sure that it is flushed with the back because it'll be a 1/4 inch sheet that goes on the back to cover everything, and you want that flat. There is a third stretcher that gets installed per the plans for the piece that goes inside the slides to get fastened to for the top 2 drawers. And then it's onto the front. I installed the dresser bottom with pocket hole screws on the underneath of it and then moved on to the drawer dividers. I installed the dresser bottom with pocket hole screws, making sure to get the pocket holes on the bottom of the dresser, and then I moved on to the drawer dividers. The drawer dividers need to be spaced exactly where you want them so that the drawers will fit perfectly. Most drawer slides are 1/2 inch if you're using the side mounted drawer slides. So make sure that you undersize your drawers by 1 inch, 1/2 inch on each side, as well as 1 inch on the top and the bottom. If you don't get these drawer dividers placed in the correct area, your drawers will not fit and you'll be taking things back apart. So make sure that you get the measurements correct the first time to prevent a big headache. Because once that glue sets, you're probably not pulling it apart. Again, if you're building this exact dresser, go by the measurements that I have in the plans and you should be good. Double check everything, of course, as you're building it, but I am following the same plans that you are to build this. The tops and the bottoms of the drawer dividers don't need to be finished with edge banding since I'm going to be painting this. And the drawers will be hiding everything anyways, but if you'd like to throw some edge banding on there, by all means go for that as well. And now you can finish it off however you like. In my case, I'm going to be painting it black, so I need to throw a quick coat of primer on it. Make sure that you use a primer before painting so that your paint will adhere correctly and not be chipping and flaking away in the future. Once you get the primer on and it's dry, then you can throw a coat of paint of your color of choice. But make sure that you use a cabinet grade paint so that it'll be strong and increase the longevity of the finish. With using the primer, 1 cone of paint was actually all I needed to cover this in black. So that was awesome because I really don't like painting. It is by far my least favorite of building things, even on top of sanding. You can set that off and let that dry while we build some drawer boxes. I like to use this Craig pocket hole clamp to fasten everything, as well as pipe clamps to hold the drawer bottom in while I'm fastening the pocket hole screws. Pipe clamps are pretty versatile and cheap compared to some of the other clamps that you can use, so pick yourself up some of them if you're going to be doing quite a bit of this. I use glue on all the corner of the drawer boxes so that they are nice and strong. I did not glue the drawer bottoms in since it will have quite a few screws in the bottom to hold it. And I don't foresee anything moving anytime soon since it's just going to have some clothes in it. If this is your first time building drawer boxes, the first couple go pretty slow, but once you get the hang of it, you can bang out every drawer probably in 5 minutes. Everybody will find an easier way to do things as they do it. This is just how I assemble them and found it easiest. So now that we have everything stained and finished, all the pocket holes are drilled and all the edge banding is on, the frame is assembled and the drawer boxes are assembled, now it's time that we can make everything look good and install the slides and the drawers themselves. I ended up picking up this kit from Miles Craft that came with a drawer slide, door pull jig, as well as a cabinet hinge jig, for a pretty reasonable price, way cheaper than what some of the Craig stuff is. But they're pretty much the same thing, so if you like Craig's products, then go check them out too. It really just comes down to whatever color of your tools you like. I like to save a little bit of money, so I use the Miles Craft. The drawer slide jig comes with in a pair, one for the left and one for the right. It's a pretty simple process of clamping it onto your drawer divider, and it has a tab that sets the slide up 1/4 inch, and you can set your slide right on top of it, install the screws right where it sits. When you go to install the drawer, I found it easiest if you take that same jig, slide it in a little bit so that your drawer box will sit on top of it, Make sure your drawer slides are pushed all the way in and your drawer box is where you want it to sit when it's closed, and make a mark on the front of your slide on the drawer box. Then pull your drawer box out a little bit and your slides so that you can get the first screw hole and install the screw on each side. Then you can simply pull the drawer out a little bit until you see the next hole and put another screw in there, and the same thing for your last screw at full extension. Take off the drawer slide jigs and confirm that the drawer slides and operates the way you want it to. If for some reason it doesn't, you can take out a screw and adjust to the perfect fit that you want. Then it's just rinse and repeat for the rest of the drawer boxes. The next thing we install are the drawer fronts, and I'm going to use the aforementioned door pull jig from Miles Craft to drill all the holes. You simply line it up in the middle of your drawer and use the included bit to drill the holes, exactly where your screws for the pulls are going to be located. This makes installing drawer pulls a simple process. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I like to use the pre-drilled holes for the handles to install the drawer fronts themselves onto the boxes. I laid the dresser on its back and then I arranged all the drawer fronts onto each drawer box, and I used a few shims to make sure that I had the same gap in between every one of the drawers. Once I have everything where I want it, I simply take a couple of run-of-the-mill screws and run them into the drawer boxes to hold them in place. Once you have all the drawers out, you can take clamps and clamp on the drawer front to the drawer box itself, remove the screws and install the screws and the door pulls at the same time, and then you're done. You can run a couple screws in from the inside to hold the drawer fronts on if you'd like to do that too. Doing it this way will ensure that they're exactly where you want them to be and you won't move. So when you install them, they'll be right where you had them. Once you have the handles on your drawer boxes, the drawers are finished. I left all the drawers out of the frame and I drilled pocket hole screws into the top of the dresser to fasten the dresser to the top itself. This is up to you on how many you want to use, but in my opinion, the more the merrier. I lined the top with wood glue and I set the top on where I wanted it to be, making sure that the back was flush with the dresser. That way when it sits up against the wall, everything sits nice and flush. Now that everything is assembled and we're done, we can throw all the drawers back in one final time and see how it looks. After all said and done, this dresser turned out pretty good in my opinion. I like the contrasting black to the dark stained wood and the silver handles. I think my son's gonna be pretty happy with it. The dressers that you buy from a lot of the stores are made out of particle board and they're built really cheap with drawer bottoms, always falling out of the drawer boxes. This is a little bit more expensive than the pre-built ones you get from the store, but this dresser will serve my son for years to come without worrying about it falling apart. And it looks way better than the cheap ones that you can buy that are particle board and a white veneer. Again, I will leave a link in the description to all the plans if you guys would like to go check that out on Etsy. All the tools and materials that were used are linked in the description. And if you guys would like to see how I built this table saw workbench that I used to assemble and build everything on, you can go check this video out up here and consider giving this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.